Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday, December 4th. Coach Melissa here in the gym at Goddard Fit Body Boot Camp, and I have for you another edition of Nutrition News. And today's topic, as you can see on the title, is sitting the new smoking? So I've been reading a lot of articles about this lately and seeing a lot written about it, that I think it's time we talk about it. Sitting versus standing and the detriment to your health that too much sitting has now been shown to cause. Why living an incredibly sedentary lifestyle is actually, risking your health, just like smoking is risking your health. And the detriments of smoking to your health are well researched, are well known. Pretty much everybody can spout off, different reasons why you shouldn't smoke, and the well-publicized risks to your health that smoking can cause. But there's more and more evidence now being shown and being written and being published about the effects of too much sitting on your health. So we're actually going to talk about that today. And then the next couple of weeks, we're going to talk about the holidays and how to approach the holidays while having fun, making it all that you want it to be, and not completely falling off the wagon or spending the holidays and after also feeling guilty. So trying to find that balance. At the end of this little talk today, I'm also going to do a draw for our members of our November Accountability Challenge. So we have our members who come in at least 3 times a week. We enter their names into a draw throughout the month, and then these are all the names for the month of November for all of our members who have come in at least 3 times a week. Maybe they came in 3 times 1 week, then they have 1 ballot. Maybe they came in 3 times 3 weeks, then they have 3 ballots. So we'll make that draw at the end of this live cast, and then they will, whoever that is, will walk away with $25 today that they can spend here however they like, whether it is on some of our clothing, or whether it is on protein powder, or a water bottle, or a foam roller, or all of the different things that we sell. So stay tuned for that. But right now, let's talk about, is sitting the new smoking? So there's been a lot of talk about this lately, and a lot of studies have now shown that if you sit for more than 4 to 5 hours at a time, then you are 100% knocking out any of the benefits that you may have had from your workout earlier that day. So it's really important to know that. It's really important to know that even if you come in here or anywhere and you work out, first thing in the morning, if you then spend the rest of your day sitting, you've pretty much erased all the work that you've done. So it's important to stay active, or to, implement activity into the rest of your day, not just 30 minutes. Although our 30-minute workouts are awesome, if you spend the rest of the day sitting, you're going to cancel out what you've already done. This is what is now being referred to as the sitting disease. It's also been shown time after time by many different organizations and studies that that moving actually makes you smarter. Physical fitness it's been said now, is more important than even board games for your cognitive health. So exercise, what I have written here is, exercise is the new pill for your brain, helping you to stay mentally fit as well. Every time when you're working out, there's a lot going on in your body, but also in your brain, telling your body what to do. New neurons are being created with every different movement, especially if it's a new movement. So fitness is incredibly important, helps keep your brain active, makes you smarter, it has been said, more important than even board games for your cognitive health. And it's been said, as I've already covered here, that if you sit for more than 4 to 5 hours at a time, it's been said that it knocks out 100% of the benefits of your activity that you did earlier in the day. So have you ever calculated how many hours a day you are sitting? Perhaps something to be aware of. Between work, so sitting at your desk, commuting to work, perhaps sitting in your vehicle, sitting down for meals, and then maybe sitting down to watch TV. The article that I'm reading right here, it says the average Canadian spends close to 10 hours a day sitting. A paper published by the Annals of Internal Medicine indicated that being sedentary for a prolonged period of time was associated with a 15 to 20% higher risk of death from any cause, a 15 to 20% higher risk of heart disease, death from heart disease, cancer, death from cancer, and as much as a 90% increased risk of developing diabetes. So it's no wonder that we're hearing that sitting is the new smoking, because it was still said that smoking causes all of these concerns, right? If you smoke, you have a higher risk of heart disease, you have a higher risk of certain cancers, you have a higher risk of dying from these things. Well, now they're saying that sitting has the same detrimental effects. Prolonged sitting, especially with incorrect posture, can put extra pressure on your lower back, can stress your surrounding muscles and joints, which will lead to lower back pain. Crossing your legs for long periods of time, especially when you're sitting, can put increased pressure and pain on your knees. Yoga and stretching is incredibly beneficial to help fight against this poor posture and subsequent joint and back pain. As can just standing up more often. Standing up more often can provide many benefits and can kind of help fight against all of these things that happen when you sit too much. So how can you stand up more often, and how can you sit less, especially if you work at a job that has you sitting most of the time? There are several ways, actually, and this one is becoming more popular: requesting to have a standing desk in your office, or even make your own, or even at your home office, have a standing desk. So this is think about like when you check into a hotel, right? So the people that stand behind that desk at the hotel, the concierge, or the people that check you in, they work all day, and yet they stand at that desk. They don't sit. So standing desk doesn't really have to be fancy. Even if you use a laptop, you can just stack it on some boxes, if you have to, or some big books, really, at the desk that you already have, and then just stand instead of sit at it. Even just switching to standing instead of sitting for even a couple hours a day will make a difference. Think about the meetings that you have with your colleagues, or anybody really, with your coworkers. Could you go for a walk? And maybe this is some outside the box thinking, but does the meeting have to happen sitting down? Does it have to happen inside? Could you go for a walk and still discuss everything that you need to cover? It's kind of a different idea, but also a cool idea. If you're meeting with less than 4 or 5 people, go for a walk instead of booking a conference room or taking up space in the building. Walking meetings have actually been proven to get the creative juices flowing. And if walking isn't possible, maybe you could just move the chairs around to one side of the room and have everybody stand for at least part of the meeting, maybe even all of the meeting. So this walking meeting, this is exercise being the new pill for the brain. It's making sure that you're moving. Exercise makes you smarter. It's important for your cognitive health. So this is how you can kind of combine the two. How else can you incorporate standing more and sitting less? Even setting reminders on your phone. I mean, I have suggested to clients before, when it comes to drinking water or when it comes to remembering to eat, to set a reminder to go off on their phone to remind them to do those things. You could do the same when it comes to getting up and moving around. Set a reminder for yourself to get up once an hour, walk around for 5 minutes or so. And sometimes it's as simple as that. That's going to add up over the hours of the day, as opposed to just sitting. You're going to notice benefits to your energy levels throughout the day as well as you do this. And I know that can be really difficult, especially if you're really focused on what you're doing and feel like you don't have time to get up and walk around. But even if you're taking phone calls, right? Even if you're on a phone call, can you do that walking around, even around the house or around your office or wherever? Maybe you can go outside to take that call, as opposed to just sitting down all the time. And sometimes, if you're working straight through 3 to 4 hours at a time, it's probably not going to be that detrimental to get up and take a 5-minute break. It may even be better for you. So try to do that standing up. Put your headphones in and take your phone on a walk with you when you're doing those work calls. As I mentioned before, you could do that with your headphones in so that you stay focused and aren't as distracted. Of course, that depends on where you're walking. sirens, car horns, things like that could be a little distracting. But if you can be outdoors, preferably in a quieter area, this is a great way to get more movement throughout the day. So if you have noticed that sitting has had an impact on your joint health, be mindful of that too, and make sure you're getting enough vitamins. Make sure you're taking your omega-3s, which help fight inflammation. Make sure you're paying attention to your nutrition, and get up and move. Get up and move as often as you can. Even if it's just 5 minutes an hour, that's still going to add up over time, and it's going to be a lot better than nothing. Now, when you think about sitting, also be pretty mindful of your posture, okay? So a lot of us hunch over. We hunch over a keyboard. We hunch over our phones. We hunch over our desk, book, whatever it is that we're working on. So try to be mindful of sitting back, shoulders back, like you have a book on your head at least part of the time, okay? Or get up and stand if at all possible. There's huge, enormous evidence that standing can make a huge difference to your health. I'm not talking about, spending hours in the gym or, running for miles, but just avoiding this sort of sedentary behavior that sees you spending hours a day sitting in front of a computer, especially hunched over, or a steering wheel, or, watching TV just kind of mindlessly. There's a lot of evidence that we as humans in this day and age need to be a lot more active than what we are. Lack of physical activity is a major public health problem at this time and in this, at this time in this century. So it doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be complicated. Just get up and move, really. It's estimated that being on your feet for just 3 hours a day can extend your life by up to 2 years. If you sit for more than 4 to 5 hours a day, you're kind of canceling out 100% of the benefits of your activity. So there's a lot of statistics here, but there's a lot of really good information here to be aware of as well. So if you're feeling like, you're too unfit, or, you're not ready to go for, a big walk, or to walk, up a hill or whatever, think again. Low level activity, even regularly, just walking around your house, can make a big difference, can add up over time. Active individuals are going to reduce, which we talked about before, are going to now reduce the risk of heart disease by up to 40% against, versus people of the same age, the same gender that are inactive. High blood pressure can be lessened by almost 50%. The risk of recurrent cancers by almost 50%. As we mentioned, there's great mental benefits, of course, to getting up, moving around, clearing your head. The risk of developing Alzheimer's disease has been shown to be decreased by 1/3. Depression can be eased, not cured. I'm not saying that, but eased by physical activity. There's a lot of evidence, anecdotal and scientific, about that. Speaks to that as well. Activity, can be just as powerful as medication in some cases, not all cases, but in some cases, activity plays a big role in your overall mental health. So I think it's important to realize that. I think it's important that we as parents are mindful, especially if you have kids that are on electronics a lot, whether that be a computer, a device, the TV, or, going from one to the next throughout the day, being mindful of how many hours are your kids now spending sitting. This is very different than it was, a couple of generations ago, even my generation. So be very mindful of that, because if that habit is starting now when your kids are young, that's going to be a very hard habit for them to break as they get older and start seeing some of these health concerns that we've mentioned in this video already today. I'm reading an article here about obesity rates, and this one is actually from the United Kingdom, and they have one of the highest levels of obesity in the world. Barely 7% of men and 4% of women were carrying out enough physical activity to fulfill them throughout their days. Government's recommendations are not just failing to encourage the population to increase their physical activity, but are acting almost as a disincentive to people to participate at all. 30 minutes of moderate activity is, for a lot of people, impractical or unattainable. So if you hear, from a doctor or for the government that everybody needs 30 minutes of moderate activity a day, and you think, I can't afford a gym membership, or, I'm just too busy, then you don't do anything. And it doesn't have to be like that. It can be getting up every hour. It can be going for a walk for your meeting instead of sitting down for your meeting. It can be getting a standing desk. It can be, watching a little bit less TV, or even in the commercials, doing something active during the commercials. Even a small amount of activity can add up to major health gains over time. And this is what I think our general population and our children as well need to be taught. Every action, even, a single step on, even just going up the stairs or standing up for a few minutes a day can put you on a better path long term to better health. So if you start to have the mindset that, small movements, small steps add up to big gains, make up big differences, will make a significant difference, then everybody has the potential to take part in this idea and gain major benefits of being physically active. Being physically active doesn't mean you have to hold a gym membership. Yeah, that's a great idea, especially if you're not sure what to do or how to do it, and especially how to do it safely. But that's not the only way. It can be a walk in the park, literally. It can be going for a walk in the park to clear your head between clients, or, with your dog after supper, or with your kids. That's going to add up, make that part of your regular routine. So the risks of not doing this over time, especially over years, that puts you at a higher risk of things like we talked about, of heart disease, of various cancers, and of dying from these things over time, because your body is just going to deteriorate over time from not having enough activity. I think it's really important for all of us to be very mindful of that in the society that we live in now, that is very easy to stay seated and entertained, that we don't have to get up to be entertained. We can be entertained by our little devices that can go on for hours. We can lose track of time quite easily nowadays. So set on that device, set an alarm that tells you to get up, reminds you to get up. There's lots of fun apps that you can put on that device to remind you how to be active, and how to be active with your kids too. So is sitting the new smoking? I think it could be over time if left unchecked. And yet I think it's something that every one of us, regardless of age or ability, has the potential to affect, to change based on where you're at. Do what you can with what you have. It's going to look different for everybody, but be mindful of that. And I think we'll all be in a better place if we are more mindful of that. So with that being said, I'm now going to do, as promised, this $25 FBBC card draw for one of our members who was here at least 3 times a week, any week, or maybe all weeks in the month of November. So this is actually for the bar, so our lifting gym next door. It's for Fit Body Forever clients, which is our 55 and older functional moving program, and it is also for our FBBC, our Fit Body Bootcamp clients. So I have a name. This $25 gift card is going to Deborah Drennan. Deb Drennan from Robin Hood Tours. Maybe some of you guys know her. Great lady. So she is one of our members here at Fit Body Bootcamp. And today, right before Christmas, she is the lucky winner of our $25 gift card. So I will get that to her at the next session she is at. And other than that, that's all I have for everybody today. I hope you have a great week. I will be back next Monday, the 11th, with more of a holiday themed topic for nutrition news. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a great Monday.